Hello, Lawanda Green for my interviewing process class. This will be recording, the final exam and recording. The first thing is to explain the basic concepts of a social work interviewing. The basic concept of social work interviewing would be to ask lots of questions using good verbal communication skills, active listening, using some empathy when needed, to be honest and truthful as possible, using a bit of humor, being comfortable with your client as well as your client being comfortable with you. Eye contact is definitely, putting a smile on someone's face. What helping processes are involved in the stage of the social work practice? I believe that engagement and preparation is one. That means you are, getting to know your client to make your client feel as comfortable as they possibly can with you, and explaining to them what process is getting ready to take place through the whole entire process. Assessment, planning, and contracting is collecting as much data that you possibly can from your client, engaging your client, letting your client talk and just ask questions, finding their strengths, their weaknesses. Intervention and implementation means basically is achieving their goals. You're writing up their goals and their progress. You're redefining themselves. You're helping them to redefine themselves, trying to figure out what's going on, what they need or is in need of. Evaluation and termination is basically you're going to schedule a follow-up appointment to see how they're doing, what's been going on with them. Have they did any of the things that you had discussed? You're going to reinforce the social networks. You're going to plan out what they are to do, and just to see if they're going to, keep up with their doing and the progress that they are, going through or not going through, or maybe the steps that they are going through or not going through, just to basically be in touch with them. Define the roles of a social worker and human service worker in modern society. Well, in today's society, I believe that the role of the social worker, human service worker, is to help the client in any way possible, getting to know their needs, their wants, their desires, and how they can go through the steps to getting the things that are needed. To be able to recognize, what the client may be going through or maybe not going through, to know your facts. If you can tell a client something, then you need to be able to back it up with facts and with proof. Not be judgmental, but to be understanding toward the client, because sometimes these clients are alcoholics and drug addicts, and they just don't know, and their mind is not all there for them to function in a proper way. So you have to be understanding and understand what they are going through, using a little bit of empathy, to know your information, their social networks. If you give them somewhere to go, help them along the way, give them phone numbers and street addresses and the contact person, just to help them along their way. How would an effective social worker develop a plan to assist an individual with enhancing day-to-day social functions? Well, you're going to start out by being comfortable and making the client comfortable. You're going to ask the client a lot of questions to figure out, in order to help to develop that plan. You're going to use good verbal and communication skills, active listening, a bit of humor, some empathy. You're going to assess their strengths and their weaknesses, go over goals and objectives. You're going to figure out what it is that they are in need of that you can help them with. You're going to make the plan using objectives. You're going to find out the things that is needed, how they are feeling and their emotions in order to do this day-to-day plan, what challenges, they are going through, or what may be preventing them from completing the goals and objectives, and their weaknesses, how you can build upon the weaknesses to make them now strengths. Collect all the data that is possible that by asking lots of questions. It sounds like even like off the wall questions, but the more questions you ask, the deeper you'll get to know your client, the more understanding that your client will be with you, the more comfortable that the client will be. How do social workers demonstrate effective listening and communication skills during a clinical interview? Eye contact. Definitely eye contact. You have to engage your client. You have to let them know that you are there to help them, that you are willing to go through loops with them, that, by putting a smile on your face, a firm handshake and everything, just, you want to repeat back what is being said to you so that you can, have, that good communication skills, and you want the client to know you're actually listening to them. Some humor. You want to bring a bit of humor into the interview. You want to ask the client to explain themselves, even if you get lost in what they're saying, to just explain themselves further. Ask the client to give examples. You use examples, just listening, not just nodding your head, but actually engaging in the whole entire conversation and the whole process of it all. You want to use examples, even if you have to use a dry erase board to draw something out. You want to engage just to let them know I am here and I'm listening to every word that you are saying. How do social workers express empathy within a clinical interview? You want to ask the client how they are feeling from day to day and what today is like, if give an example of the day and ask them to, elaborate on that day. Talk about what is going on the inside of them. How can you be of service to them in a soft, gentle, but calm voice. You want to explain to the client that you understand what they are going through. Even if you have to give an example or a little short story that kind of sort of relate to what's going on with them. You want them to feel comfortable and, being able to open up to you. Ask open-ended questions, you want to, just say things like, I'm sorry to hear that. Yes, I understand, and what else happened and how are you feeling about that? And when this took place, how did it make you feel? Just using certain little words, will help use empathy within the clinical interview, because sometimes only thing the client need is just someone to just listen to what they are saying. And they all, some clients will go all around the world to come back to what you actually initially asked them. So you need to just kind of sort of, be patient, not impatient. Don't hurry them along. I understand that most, social workers and stuff is on time schedules, but in order to be a good social worker or human service worker, you need to take your time and let each individual client be its own. You can't compare this client to that client, because you don't know what these two clients, they may have similar situations, but they may be totally different. This is my take on the social work process, that we have to be aware of what's going on, and each individual is totally different, and we need to take one client at a time and help that one, as opposed to trying to help 10 to 15 of them at a time, and somewhere along the line we are losing at least 80% of our clients. Thank you and have a blessed day.